my name is Jay Black. I'm a comedian. I am joined by Bill Ridgway. He is a defender of the universe. And on today's Nerdstalgia, we watched the first episode of Voltron, Defender of the Universe. Nerd! What we do on Nerdstalgia is we watch an episode of cartoon or wrestling or video game from our youth, and then we discuss it to see whether or not our Nerdstalgia for it is valid. And Bill, I believe this was your call, Voltron. This is something that you remembered and wanted to chat about.
Yeah, I barely remembered it. But, I remember the... and by barely remember, I meant the show as much as, like, the toy line was awesome.
The toy line, spectacular.
Yeah, fantastic.
This was the TV series that went with the toy line.
After the toy line, yeah.
If you don't know about the toy line, it's 5 space cats, 5 space robot cats that turn into a giant space robot universe defender, right?
Yep.
Now, did this predate Destructicons? I think.
No, here's the cool thing that I did look up along that. Challenge of the GoBots came out like September 8th.
Right.
2 days later, Voltron. A week later, Transformers.
Wow.
All within like 9 days of each other.
I would say 1984.
It was early September of '84. Everything came out.
I would say that.
But it was before Transformers.
Gotcha. So, well, a week before.
A week, got it in.
I just picture them like drawing as fast as they can. Like, those GoBots are going to beat us.
When they took it over here from Japan,
right.
It was called like Go Lions something or other.
Go Lions.
They didn't get like a Japanese translator to go like, all right, what's happening in this scene? They just literally took the animation and just talked through it.
Really?
And made their own like...
Wow.
This is why there's a lot of like, ha ha ha, because the guy's mouth open, like, he's got to say something here.
Right.
And they just throw things in. It's insane.
You know what? This is what I'll tell you. The racism of the early 80s gives us a lot to laugh at.
Where can we find someone that speaks Japanese in this day and age?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically a dead language at this point, right? I mean, so if you don't remember the Constructicons, do you remember the Constructicons?
Yeah, sure.
I said Destructicons, but it was Constructicons. Okay.
Okay.
They were 5 construction vehicles that transformed into a giant robot named Destructor, right? They were the coolest by far Transformers to me. I loved all the ones. So Voltron holds a special place in my heart because it, I guess, is the first thing of 5 robots that transforms into one giant robot.
There's your question. I don't know. Maybe it is. It's got to be, right?
I think it's the first. I mean, I think this is groundbreaking in a lot of ways. This is like, Birth of a Nation, but for giant robots.
And by the way, the lead into Voltron is done by...
Oh, Optimus Prime.
Right, Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen.
Yeah, so...
Who, by the way, was probably talking to his agent, like, how many of these transforming robot shows are there? And his agent was like, hey, you need to work, Peter.
I think he put his kids through community college. I don't know what you're talking about. So I think he was full on board with the money he was making off of robot shows.
What do you think he makes from the movies? Doing the voiceover for the movies.
Back then, you mean what he gets nowadays?
Yeah, because he's Optimus Prime now.
Oh, I'm sure he makes up all the money he didn't get back then.
You think it's 7 figures? Peter Cullen, could you please comment below with how much money you make each year? Could you break it down?
We have fax us your tax returns would be helpful.
Yes, we needed to do an inquiry on Peter Cullen's tax returns, because I think he's making tons of money he's not reporting. Okay, let's get to the TV show, which I'm going to just flat out state from the beginning. This was the worst episode that we've ever had to watch for anything. Not just Nerdstalgia. I'm going to say anything I've ever had to watch.
I think we should have done our research. Like what we've been doing in our format so far is we pick the first episode of something from back then. Instead of maybe picking the best episode
that's
of
a good
something
point.
From back then.
That's a very good point.
So when we get like 20 minutes in, I'm like, where's Voltron? I was getting a little bit like, this was a mistake.
Right, it's like Poochie. Whenever Poochie's not on the screen, they should be asking, where's Poochie?
Right. So the characters themselves aren't interesting as robot lines that form Voltron.
Well, Bill, so are you saying that we should do more than the current amount of research, which is almost negative?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is, okay. I'm going to start by saying I'm not happy with the idea that Voltron is the defender of the universe. Just from a cosmological scale issue.
Right.
Because be defender of the galaxy, that's big enough.
Right.
But the defender of the universe, how do you get to everywhere that you need to get? The universe is a big place, Bill.
And speaking of that, so they have these things in place that go along with, I guess, Voltron. They have the Galaxy Garrison or the Galaxy Alliance, which is just 60 white guys around a table. So, like, out of the entire universe, once again, who's running it? If you watch the scene, it's literally 60 different white guys with different beards, maybe a couple bald guys in there, but no women, no minorities, no aliens even. They literally just watched the animation and just spoke when they were speaking.
Good point.
And created something out of nothing, pretty much.
Well, so here's they have who are the 5 guys? They're like some sort of special unit. They're
the Space Explorers.
The Space Explorers. Yes. They're specially trained.
Yes.
There's 4 dudes and then a child. This is a boy that is part of the Galaxy Defenders or the Space Force for some reason, but just has a voice that does not match the animation whatsoever.
Right. He can apparently jump 40 feet.
Yes. that was at one point.
Kind of shocking that, it's like, oh, all right. That's why they keep him around, I guess.
Yeah. Well, so the plot is fairly simple. They get captured by, what was the alien? You remember the alien races. The Globo fascists.
No, all I know is it was... Zarkon was the bad guy. So the forces of Zarkon.
The forces.
Did they say they were anything else than that?
I don't know. No,
they're kind of like.
They look like fish people. They look like
fish cat hybrids. Something going on there.
They look like the thing that the lady in Shape of Water had sex with. It's another arena show in the 80s. This
starts with genocide.
It starts with a genocide.
Right, of course.
It hits all the hallmarks of our cocaine collection. Why is there so much arena combat going on?
And they said with the Japanese version of it. What's it called? Aris is the planet that gets blown up or shot. That's really Earth in the Japanese one.
Whoa.
But that was too dark.
Too dark
for American. Like they had beheadings and stuff they were showing and stuff in the Japanese version, so they had to like clean it up a little bit.
But like we're watching the Space Force gets captured, and then the forces of Zarkon are having arena combat prior to when they're going to throw the Space Force in there. And it's like some kind of RoboCat? Like what's the
RoboBeast.
RoboBeast. So they have RoboBeast come out to kill gladiators. So the Space Force, who we are introduced to by them going, they're specially trained. Yeah. They've been captured. They'll be fine. They're inside of
once again a bunch of white men sending young people off to battle.
Right.
And then having
some things never change. Right?
I hope they don't need mental health care.
Oh yeah, the Space VA is completely underfunded. So when you get back, please don't be injured.
Mercedes and drives off. For his 3-hour workday.
Yeah, no, he goes home and has lunch with a space lobbyist who is selling them on space armaments. The space F-22 doesn't work. It's all right. Just keep ordering them. So they get it's a fat guy. It's 3 regular guys, one of whom is Norwegian for some reason.
Which I appreciate.
Right, but
finally somebody I can look up to. Somebody for my taste.
He was identical looking to everybody else. Right. Dark hair, Japanese eyes, but Norwegian. Very progressive, I guess. Yeah.
Very heavy. What's it? The Swedish chef accent.
Very racist against Swedish people, and a child. And a legitimate baby child who, as you say, they say, well, we need to get up there to escape. And he's like, I can do it. And then he leaps 40 feet, no problem whatsoever. I assume in the Japanese show there was a lot of discussion about his robotic legs that allowed him to do that.
But I love where I'm sure the Americans watching this, or the people doing the tremendous amount of cocaine are watching this, going and they have no no idea what leads to this.
Right.
And they're like I like when they're looking in, they're like, all right, get the prisoners, bring out the Space Explorers to fight in the arena. They're sleeping. They'll fight better tomorrow. Like they're just saying random things. Like, well, the guy walked up and left. We have to give a reason why they walked away. Right. They were asleep.
You know, a lot of times when
they have a full packed Coliseum, aren't they? Like,
I guess that's what they do.
We're canceling the main event tonight, guys.
Imagine if they came out and they were like, "Hey, everybody, Aaron Rodgers is really tired, so the Packers game will be on Monday, not today." Just as a note on arena combat, because this is our 37th episode where the bad guys have caught the good guys and want them to fight in arena combat. It has never worked out.
Never.
From Thor Ragnarok to G.I. Joe to this episode of Voltron, The bad guys always lose when they make the good guys fight in arena combat.
But I'm assuming the gate receipts alone make up for it, maybe?
Possibly. Maybe it's just...
They seem to pack these things, right? So
you always lose, bad guys. I don't know, maybe in the Roman times this was good, but now
I have a feeling this is not going to be the last time we cover a Coliseum-based event in one of these shows.
And you know what I love about the 80s? Because a lot of times in my own writing, there'll be a moment where someone would go, "Oh, that's hacky. You can't do that. It's been done a million times." Apparently, those people didn't exist in the 1980s. Where they go,
once again, the #1 show for
crazy.
2 years for children.
I'm trying too hard. I just need to go.
That's it.
We need to buy a Japanese property and then dub it first run through without having seen it before and just release it.
Put even less work into what you're putting into this right now.
Okay. So the Space Force. Space Force escapes the castle.
Space Explorers.
The Space Explorers.
I know, it's so generic.
Yeah.
I know.
They escape their space prison, and then they go...
with buzzards and...
Right. Which, again, the buzzard had like a skull in its mouth.
They dropped him into like a pile of like just dead bodies.
Yeah, the morbidity of the old-timey TV
Japanese
shows.
were dark.
Yeah. Well, I think the 80s were dark. I mean, honestly, we're watching this under the legitimate threat of nuclear war.
Right.
From an existential point of view, this was rough. Oh, by the way, I'm glad you're wearing your Space Explorers T-shirt for this.
That's right.
Bill's part of the Space Explorers too, kids. So they go to Castle the Voltron, and they hear the legend of Voltron.
And you had an issue with this.
I do have an issue with this because it's a witch. The Voltron is together. He's fighting on the basis for the humanity, and then an evil witch comes and puts a curse on him and breaks him apart.
Right.
This is not peanut butter and chocolate. Sci-fi and fantasy. There's only ever been one good sci-fi fantasy: Star Wars. Every other sci-fi fantasy has not worked. You are either science fiction, and listen, I'm not in favor of segregation. I'm in favor of the separation of science fiction and fantasy. That's it. I know they're in the same section of your favorite B. Daltons, but they...
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Really nicely done there.
I know when you go to Walden Books, Bill, you go to the sci-fi fantasy section, but they need to be separate. Keep the science fiction with... She could have had, even if they just said she used her nanotechnology to split them apart, fine. But you can't put a curse.
But you already have a witch involved in this.
Don't make her a witch. Make her a techno-wizardess.
Again, cocaine and just spitting out things while they're trying to cover this.
Make her the great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter of Elon Musk. She got super high and used nanobots to break apart Voltron. It was very upsetting to me. But we get the Voltron breaks apart, and they're like, gee, if we could find those lions...
Right, and again, speaking of the same thing, so all this this hidden lore, nobody knows what it is.
Right.
It's a giant castle with lions.
Right, yeah.
How hidden is this on this planet?
That's a very good point. Yeah, it's
right.
Well, yeah, it would be like if there was the Legend of Cinderella hidden in Disney World.
Right.
It's like,
if only we had some place to start.
Where do we find this information out? I don't know. Start with the castle called Cinderella's Castle, maybe. I don't know.
She might be there. I don't know.
It beats me.
Right. Right? They're clearly going to find Voltron there? I'm going to take a wild guess.
I would imagine. I don't know if they get there and they go, nah, this was too easy. As it turns out, we got to search for it. But yeah, and that's where the episode ends. It ends with them walking into Castle Voltron.
I think again we got
to pick a better episode.
Yeah, maybe find the higher rated ones.
Because I'm not only gonna say that this shouldn't be Nerdstalgia. This should be removed from the archives. We need to disappear this down a memory hole.
Every time we get an episode like this that ends in a cliffhanger, we're left wanting something else. Kind of like when we did Thundercats when we didn't get Mumra right away. It does make me want to see Voltron eventually, though. So I can't throw it out completely.
This episode
I just don't have enough evidence to.
Was so slow moving and incomprehensible that who knows when Voltron will show up, and when it does, will they even remember the?
And speaking of the Voltron thing, that confused me as a kid too was okay. So the main guy Keith is the leader.
Right.
He's the Black Lion.
Right.
But when he's not the Black Lion, he wears red.
Right.
And then I think the Blue Lion is and it's all so you don't. I always forgot who was on what or who did.
Yeah, not me though, Bill, because I don't see color. I don't.
Right. So.
I don't see color. #woke. Pretty woke, Bill. Yeah, this was terrible. I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't, if the UN tomorrow at the General Assembly said, hey, we're going to find all of the existing episodes of Voltron and destroy them, I would be 100%.
Really? Off of the one episode?
Off the one episode. I was so bored during this. I tried to watch it 3 times. Yeah. I like not even, I guess because I have no nostalgia for this. I only remember the cats. If you had said, here are the 5 toys, film yourself playing with them.
Like I said, I was more excited about the toys.
The
now
toys
that I watched
awesome.
the show, again, we didn't get Voltron, so, but I'm assuming it might not get a ton better.
Yeah, no, I'm going to vote a hard no on this. Right. I'm going to say, here's a Nerdstalgia request. Take your existing copies of Voltron, set them on fire, and film yourselves, and we'll put them on the next episode of Nerdstalgia. What do you think?
I don't know if you're allowed to ask that of people.
I want you to dress up one of your children as Voltron.
And set them on fire.
No, Bill, no. You're doing this incorrectly. All of a sudden, we're huge on 8chan. People on 9chan are like, oh man, you got to, or what is it, 4chan? You got to check out these Nerdstalgia guys.
I think they get worse the higher the number gets next to the
Is that what it
Chan.
is? Yeah.
Right?
I wonder how Jackie Chan feels about this.
Jackie Chan's got his own issues, I think. So,
all right, so yeah, this was terrible. Don't watch it. And Jim's phone agrees. Yeah. This is not a show.
Jump in somewhere in the middle of the season, maybe it gets better.
Yeah,
perhaps.
perhaps.
Give it a shot. Just if it's going to be a first reintroduction of it, don't go episode 1.
Yeah, this was terrible. So thanks for watching Nerdstalgia, and we will be back next week with the GoBots, the number 2 show of 1984, or number 3.
And that wasn't 3. Transformers was 3.
Transformers was 3.
Oh no, not ranking-wise. I meant like came out.
Time-wise, yeah. Because Transformers is number 1 in my heart.
Yeah.
All right.
And I think it still will be.
I'm Jay Black. This is Bill Ridgway. We'll see you next week. Are you watching this show with 5 of your friends? Well, I want you to do what Bill and I used to do in college with our friends. Transform into one giant mega friend. And you can do this easily the way we used to, by getting naked and greasing yourself up so that all of your body parts fit perfectly. Then your leader pops up as the head of the giant friend and hits the like button, and then the subscribe button, and then the bell button, and then he takes the link and sends them to all of his other mega friends. By the way, if one mega person watches a YouTube video, it counts as 25 views.
You know, you've asked people to set themselves on fire and grease themselves up and cling to their 4 best friends at this point in this video alone.
and you know what? Film yourself doing it, because that's my kink, and I don't want to be shamed. All right, please send this to other people. This was fun, right? Come on. Don't be a wiener.